Welcome to the couch, man.
Thank you, thank you.
How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Crazy day?
Oh yeah, it's tax season.
That's right. Oh, we're going to get into that in just a minute.
Yeah.
All right, welcome to the couch. I'm Ryan Bowman, and we got today's our special guest, a good friend of mine, Miguel Espinoza, who's running for place 5 of City Council. Welcome to the couch, man.
Thank you.
Welcome to the couch. First time to the couch.
I know, excited to talk.
Ooh, man, we're going to have a good time. It's Friday, too.
Yeah.
Now, I'm extra excited working at a university, and so we're going into spring break, so there's a lot of anticipation of waking up with nothing to do. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully. I still got to come to work a few days a week.
I got you.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about you. Tell me a little bit about your background, and for what I understand, you are a true Abilenian.
Yes.
Talk to me about the key city.
Yeah. So my dad, he was born in Mexico,
Gotcha.
and so he came here when he was about 4 years old. My mom was born and raised in Abilene, and their vision for their kids was for us to get an education. So when my dad came to ACU, that was kind of the goal, was for us to come here. My mom got her bachelor's, her 2 master's degrees are from ACU.
2 master's degrees.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So big champions of education,
Right.
and they knew just for their kids, us to have that opportunity just to get educated and grow. That was kind of their vision for our family. So we didn't really have any political background or anything.
Right.
That was never talked about. But my parents are just 2 very, very hardworking people. They instilled those values within me, and they've worked so hard for me to be successful. And so part of me working so hard is also just a tribute to them.
Gotcha. So, where did you go to college?
ACU.
And you went to high school where?
Abilene High.
Okay, so that's Go Eagles, right?
Yes, Warbirds.
Warbirds. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm from Florida, so excuse my vernacular.
Yeah, the black shirts to be particular.
Yes, I had to learn being from Florida, being around certain people. Oh, did you go to Cooper? No. You ask somebody, hey, you went to Abilene High? I will never go to Abilene. But now you have Wiley too, so you have a lot of growing schools here in Abilene,
Oh yeah.
and so your roots are here in Abilene.
Oh yeah.
So you went to college at
ACU.
ACU, so you will go Wildcats.
Yeah, scratching.
Yeah, scratching. And you got your undergrad in what?
That was in business administration, major in accounting.
Got your major in accounting.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not mistaken, you got a master's degree too.
In accounting, yes.
Wow, you're a numbers guy.
Yeah, so ACU is great. They have a 5-year program.
Gotcha.
And so it's tailor made for you to be ready to be qualified, everything for you to be ready to take that CPA exam.
Wow.
And they do a great job. You're heavily recruited by all the big Dallas firms all across Texas. They want you to work for them.
So tell me something. Most young people, after they graduate, they're just ready to leave, and for everything that they know, I got to get out of the city, I got to experience life. But you chose to stay, so explain to me why.
Yeah, I love Abilene. There was no appeal to that Dallas, Fort Worth fast life. You know, I have always envisioned myself being a family man.
Gotcha.
That's really important to me. My parents had that real strong family value, so Abilene embodies that. And it's a town that loves community, loves family, and all those things that you can do in Dallas, you still have access to. You're only 2 hours away anyways.
Right.
And so
I love you say that. Only 2 hours away.
yeah, it's a hop, skip, and a jump.
Right, hop, skip, and a jump.
So
Gotcha.
yeah, it's not too far away. You can still experience those things, but you don't have the pressures of the city.
Gotcha.
You have the community here. Things are slower. Cost of living's way better.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
And
is.
for young professionals like myself, I mean, there's opportunities for you to work, and be involved in the community. So it made sense for me to be here. My family's here. Everybody that has watched me grow up is here. You feel that connection there, and to abandon that, there's a loneliness to leave.
Yeah.
And Abilene's a special place, and you feel that here.
You have to be a special person, especially to grow up in a small town and to leave and go into the big world.
Yeah.
And it's always good and refreshing to hear someone say, hey, I like it.
Yeah.
I like the fact that it only takes me 15 minutes to get somewhere.
Yeah.
But living in Dallas, one of the things I had to learn is that your whole life is scheduled around getting to the next location.
Yeah.
45 minutes or more to traffic sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's after 3 o'clock, that 45 minutes can turn into an hour and a half really quick. So I hear you talk about the small town appreciation for the element of number one, community, but also what's familiar to you.
Yes.
And you're a very big proponent of family, and you bring a fresh perspective of appreciation to small towns. And especially, I say that because I see this also as a college town, Abilene as a college town.
Yes.
And college towns have the reputation of being very transitional because most people come in and they get what they need and they transition out, which is nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But you do need also the balance of saying, hey, y'all, there are opportunities here in Abilene to make the key city of Abilene great. And there's a lot of components that a lot of people miss if you don't know where to look. Yeah. So I want to transition just a little bit into you running for place 5 at City Council. What inspired you to run for City Council?
Yeah, so me, no expectations, right? I'm just coming out of school, working, getting my work experience, and Abilene, you're so connected to people. So you end up meeting people who are like, man, you should, think about this, think about that. And so I have a, wonderful friend group, and they were like, you'd be great for city council. And I was like, I don't even know what city council is. And so I'm like, well, tell me about it.
Yeah.
And so they start telling me, what's going on. And then also, I'm the president of All Kind Animal Action, their board of directors. And so I got that experience negotiating that contract with the city for us to take over animal services. Wow. So I got to kind of see a little bit into the city side a little bit there. Yeah. And our private-public partnership with them worked out incredibly well. Mm-hmm. It was a big success, and we're very, very proud of that. That seeing, well, you can make a really, really big impact. So I've seen the impact you can make on your community through these nonprofits.
Right.
And city council, they shape our everyday experience.
Right.
Like your everyday experience. It's so important, the decisions that they're making. And so when I realized, man, this is really important. Their leadership is like really, really important. And so whenever I was kind of evaluating, should I consider this? Should I do this? I thought, well, let me think 50 years down the road.
Right.
Sit in front of my family, grandkids, hopefully there. Would I be proud to tell them that I stood up and took that call?
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, I would.
Yeah.
And it's worth it to me. It's a big sacrifice to make, especially right now. I'm working a lot.
Yeah.
But hard things, you do that. You work. That's how big challenges overcame. And so it's something that I like to do. I love to work. So I was like, yeah, I'll take it on.
Wow. You mentioned something that's very key, is that you had a friend group that really saw something in you. And I never forget my mom growing up. She would always say that old adage,
Yeah.
Tell me who your friends are and tell me who you are.
Yeah.
So the importance of a friend group, and not only that, but somebody to see something within you that you don't see in yourself, that's highly important. And for them to see a potential that you have that you really didn't tap into. But I like what you said, because I want to go back a little bit. You said you researched it.
Yeah.
Let me know what I'm really getting into. Let me see what this is all about. Because also, I grew up not knowing politics, and it wasn't really spoke about.
Yeah.
You just voted for the candidate that you felt that was best, but you didn't know the intricacies of behind the scene and knowing how things are ran. How is it important for everyday Abilenians to understand, or to have some level of investment into understanding how important it is for city council members, or the importance of having city council members in the town? What are some of those benefits?
Yeah, so they're dealing with super complex problems. Mm-hmm. These federal regulations, state regulations, all these regs, those shape and limit what they can and can't do.
Right.
Not only are they dealing with these complex problems, but they have to convey that to the public in a way that, because not everybody's going to be able to read every reg, know every rule, why these things are happening. There's a massive responsibility on these city council people.
Yeah.
And I've met with people, at the city, and I've told them I have a profound respect since I've gained this knowledge of what y'all do.
Right.
It's a very difficult job.
Right.
Your resources are incredibly restrained, because they're not a publicly traded company. They can't go raise equity.
Right.
They're heavily reliant on the taxpayer.
Right.
And they have all these responsibilities, duties, and their costs are their costs. They only have what they have, and there's not a lot of flexibility there, but they have all this responsibility to meet all of these standards and regulations. So
that affects everyday citizens.
yes,
Yeah.
it does,
Yeah.
and it really stresses the importance of a councilman for you to be prepared,
Right.
know what's going on, be connected, and knowing especially what your city needs. Because you're financially restrained. You only have what you have, and with city sales tax, property tax, those are the two primary sources of revenue.
Right.
Sales tax, that's really unreliable. It could drop, especially with economy slowing, high inflation.
Right.
People are really feeling that
Yeah.
strain.
Oh yeah, we feel it right now, especially with the political climate, and we see, and we're not going to call any names, but they're public officials, and these things which are coming down the hatch in American society, we're feeling it in the grocery stores.
Mm-hmm.
I went into a grocery store recently, and I put back the cart, and I picked up the handheld cart, and I was just like, you know what? Let me be a little bit smarter today.
Yeah.
Because inflation is real.
Yes.
And not only that, but we're going to be feeling the outcome of what, our president called tariffs. They're
Yes.
putting tariffs, and other countries putting tariffs on us.
Yes.
So I love to hear that. Let me ask you this question. What do you see as the biggest challenges facing the city of Abilene right now?
So I don't look through the lens of challenge, it's more opportunity.
Gotcha.
So what's going on right now, and you'll see this in a few different areas. So in Lubbock and Midland, Odessa area, these nuclear energy is a real trend. This clean energy, new energy, alternative energy, it's all coming in. Lots of investment everywhere. And Abilene is in a unique position because we have Dias.
Gotcha.
And so we already have a big kind of government property there.
Right.
This is stuff that you want a lot of security around, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you have Dias of all places.
Gotcha.
You have a place that has access to security, people to oversee these things. And so I think that you'll see a lot of investment in nuclear energy.
Mm-hmm.
We have Natura. That they're doing some great things. I was reading an article the other day. They were talking about cleaning water that has been used for water disposal for oil and gas companies, and all of that is also interconnected.
Wow.
And so for Abilene, I think the really, really big opportunity is to really lay the infrastructure for this investment.
Gotcha.
So when these big companies that are rolling, $500 million, when they're thinking Stargate and all that, they see Abilene as this is the perfect place for us to be.
Wow. I want to piggyback on that just a little bit and kind of dig a little bit deeper, because you talk about the investment of companies coming into Abilene and doing a lot of great things. Do you see that there's a benefit for the city of Abilene when it comes to maybe employment and jobs, and also opportunities that comes with these big companies within the city?
Yeah, so I think, and we're so just already laid out for this. So we have DCOA really helping bring these companies in, showing them Abilene, like, look at what we're doing, look at what we're investing in. It's providing so much information to these companies, so when they do look at Abilene, they do know what we're doing, what we're trying to do, that we're trying to support them, and we're opening up these doors for the employment. Because it's like you said, we have a lot of students here. And for them to have jobs right out of school and for them to get internships at these companies, they no longer have to go.
Right.
They can stay.
Right.
And so we want to be careful that we don't grow too fast, but we want to be as prepared as possible for it. And for us to give these students, quality of life where they can go to school here, get a job right out of college here, raise a family here, and stay connected to all those key Abilene values, you give Abilene a total package.
Wow, I like that. I see that there's a lot of growth in Abilene. We've been seeing that over the last, I would say, 3 years.
Yeah.
Especially with our downtown and all the changes and all the great things that are happening. We have a new hotel, we have all these great things. And so we're starting to see that expansion. And this is your generation question. Well, how do you view Abilene in the next, let's say, 20 years? What Abilene look like to Miguel?
Well, to me, I hope it is a safe community for one. I know that's something that Abilene does prioritize. You look at our budget, that's around 54% of their budget. So we need to continue to make sure that we keep Abilene a safe community where all this expansion can take place.
Mm-hmm.
But I hope it's a place where people will say, this is where you raise your family.
Right.
There's opportunity for employment here. It's a safe community, loving community. And it's not only a place for you to get a job and be successful, but with our access to as many nonprofits that we do have, that people take all that, wealth and growth that they get from all these new jobs and new developments, and they pour it back into the community.
I like that.
I hope that is what is done, and that we keep that value and we don't lose that value.
Right.
We love our community. We invest in our community.
Right.
We're about pushing our community forward and not just ourselves.
I want to hit on two things. Nonprofit, and then we're going to talk about small business.
Okay.
What's the importance? Because nonprofit is new to some people. I've heard about it some years ago, but I was not savvy about nonprofit. Talk to a little bit of the importance of nonprofits here in Abilene, in a small city like Abilene. The importance of nonprofits.
Well, a lot of them are niche.
Mm-hmm.
So on the boards that I'm on, All Kind Animal Initiative. That was I'm a founding board member. I love animals,
right?
But I had no idea about the overpopulation issue.
Right.
That was completely new to me.
Okay, explain that a little bit.
And so here in Abilene, you looked at back before we built the park, and things have dramatically changed. That shelter, I forget when it was exactly built, but it was over 50 years old, in dramatic need of renovations and just complete staffing. The city is not, their specialty is not running animal shelters.
Right.
It's just not.
Right.
And so for us to come in as professionals, knowledgeable people about this, subject area, you bring in a whole new expertise, and also we take their budget, we fundraise on top of it.
Wow.
So we end up increasing the quality of animal welfare as well.
Okay.
And so you gain access to all these resources, all this new information from all these, people, and you learn about a specific issue, and you can attack it.
Right. And
when you get the right group of people together, you end up doing a lot of good in that area.
Right.
And so that's what we've experienced with All Kind, and it's been great.
So tell me a little bit about All Kind, the location of All Kind, and what is some of the plans for All Kind?
Yeah, so we're on 610 East South 11th Street.
Mm-hmm.
You can't miss our building. It's big. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I highly encourage anybody to just go take a tour of it, to just see all the improvements that have been made. Some things that if you compare and contrast the old facility with the new, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
That those animals are now in this new situation. It's less stressful. Everything is so tailored. We play music in the where the kennels are to help calm them down. The colors are to calm them down, get their stress levels down.
Right.
Most shelters are very loud and noisy, and just they're shaking. They're so scared.
Right.
And it's a very traumatic experience. I toured the old one, and that changed me.
Wow. I love to hear that. One of the things I've noticed when I first got to Abilene is the fact that there were so many nonprofits.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I was like, there's a lot of nonprofits out here.
Yeah.
But talk to me a little bit about the nonprofit, the back of nonprofit. Where does the money come from nonprofit? What is a nonprofit? I know you kind of touched on it just a little bit. But somebody say, you know what? I have a little money, and I think this would be a great idea in the city. I would want to go about creating a nonprofit, dude.
Yeah, so you need to file for your tax exempt status. So that's where I kind of come in as a
okay,
CPA.
Talk to me about it. Let's talk about
it.
Yeah,
and so there's a lot of paperwork that you have to do to get that initial filing. But a lot of it, as the treasurer that I came on, it's a lot of compliance. You're just making sure that the donor letters, all these specific things that need to be done from a compliance standpoint for you to keep that tax exempt status, because you don't want to lose that.
Right.
But yeah, it's super important. I forget kind of what specifically did you ask me about?
Just how do if one sees a nonprofit like, hey, I want to see there's a need in this community, and I want to create a nonprofit.
Yeah. Well, first, Abilene does have a lot of them. So when people tell me they want to get into the nonprofit world, I normally tell them, go research who's already doing it.
I like that.
Don't steal away resources from somebody who's already invested.
Don't reinvent the wheel.
Yes.
Yeah.
And first check that out and then see how you can help maybe expand that program, volunteer. Because sometimes it's not always about starting something new. Sometimes it's just improving what's already kind of there.
I like that. The fact that if there's a nonprofit, or just say somebody's aging out, how do I connect with that? And here it is. Excuse me. You're not taking it over, but you're trying to enhance it.
Yes.
You're just enhancing the work. And from what I hear you said earlier, it's all about really giving back to your community.
Yes.
That is the focus of the resource in the community. Awesome. Let's talk a little bit about small business. What is in a town like Abilene, and we in the Key City is a beautiful place. Perfect place to create a small business. And we're starting to see, especially post-COVID, kind of pre-COVID, we saw food trucks. But post-COVID, food trucks is like, and things just, small businesses just popped up.
Yeah.
And a lot of those are now restaurants and things like that started off as food trucks. And I'm just making an example of it, but how important is small business in a town like Abilene?
Well, yeah, I mean, just the national economy as a whole, we're a gig economy.
Right.
You know, there's people doing things on the side. You know, they're doing podcasts like this, for example, or they're just doing a bunch of little side gigs here and there. Food trucks have been really, really popular. It's important that no matter what the genetic makeup is of your society. You know, Abilene's very healthcare, education, diocese here.
Right.
With all these other industries, you need people to stand up and offer these goods and services.
Right.
It's very, very important. In a vibrant, economy, local economy, you want options. You want it to be competitive,
right?
And you want there to be opportunities for people to do that,
right? And
one thing with Abilene, and I would like more, is more investment opportunities for small businesses.
I like that.
And I know Blaze Reagan has pitched that idea, and I 100% support him doing that. I think that's wonderful. Giving people the opportunity for investment to push their business to the next level. Gotcha. I think that's wonderful.
Gotcha. Let's talk about just let's press the gas on this a little bit. What initiatives do you propose to create maybe job opportunities for local residents? You already talked about those businesses coming in and those creation. What does that look like? How do you propose this city of Abilene go about saying, hey, this is important to the people of Abilene. This will open up jobs. So what is your initiative towards that?
One thing I really want to see is DCOA connect these new businesses, because new jobs are coming.
Right.
They need to be connected with the local universities. And I would love to see students getting involved very, very early on. Because if they can get involved early on, you plant those roots, you plant those seeds, and hopefully that kind of creates a turnstile where it's like, hey, we know that these kids are skilled, they know about what we're doing, why we're here, and that really kind of feeds them into these new jobs. Because you don't want them bringing in, because DCOA they kind of take care of this. They make sure that Abilenians are taking part in the new jobs that are created, but you want to make sure that they are performing well in those jobs. You don't want them to just have the jobs. You want them to perform well in the jobs. Right. And so making sure that they are skilled and students know about these new employment opportunities so that, hey, maybe I do have a different major, but, I want to stay in Abilene. This looks like a great opportunity. They're on the cutting edge of some new technology. Right. I would love to be a part of that. And they're connected in.
Gotcha.
I would love to see a lot of that happen, especially over the next, 10, 20 years.
How about someone said, well, what about Mr. Espinoza? What about the regular people? And we do have people who work hard, but they may be, I don't want to say unskilled because I don't want to insult anybody. Just say a particular skill set. They may not have academic or higher education, but they work well with their hands. What's those opportunities in the future look like towards Abilene for the blue collar worker?
Well, I think it's going to complement because when these people come in, they're going to need homes. They're going to need, food, supplies, all these things they're going to need. So it bolsters your economy because these people now need goods and services that you're offering.
And we've seen an increase of blue collar work over the last, I would say, decade.
Yes.
90s, early 2000s, everything was push towards higher education. Yeah. But then we ran into the recession post 9/11. And things change for a lot of people. And then you see an increase on blue collar work. I have a relative that fixes air conditioners, and I didn't know how important air conditioner was until I moved to Abilene, Texas. Now
Yeah.
I'm a Floridian, so we get the wind off the water and it comes through the house.
Yeah.
So it's nothing for us to open up a window.
Yeah.
But here in West Texas, it's a little bit different. You can open the window all you want to, but that hot air, that 113 degrees, that 110 for a consecutive week blows inside. And so when you talk about that, I think that's really important. I also want to shift gears just a little bit when we talk about how will you address public transportation and accessibility and infrastructure for improvement, because public transportation has become a thing now, and we understand that we see that from Congress there have been some cutbacks. Do you have any ideas on how to maybe handle that in the best way possible that the city of Abilene can handle that?
Yeah, that actually came up at a candid forum here recently, and I know Abilene currently does have a private-public partnership for this. I know other cities have kind of proposed like an Uber style system. It's very hard because the city has to provide this service. It is a very complicated issue because I don't know how. Maybe the Uber system is the way to go. I would need to see some data as far as where these people are, who needs the service regularly, and if we can specifically target those people to make sure that they are getting the transportation that they need. Because if it's not a wide, city spread need, if we can go to that Uber style system, I think that would work really well here.
Gotcha. Let's talk about not only infrastructure but environment. We know that we're getting to a point where we want clean everything, and I'm for clean everything. Nobody wants to be sick, and older cities like us, you can't escape older pipelines. And you kind of talked about historically, we have a certain budget that we have to balance out responsibly for the city of Abilene. So talk to me, how do you intend to ensure clean water and public health initiatives?
Yeah, so conservation is super important. I mean, we only have one natural lake here in Texas.
Gotcha.
Whenever I spoke to the city, they were telling me that when water rights come available for sale, we're always throwing our bid out there. We're trying to acquire them. It's just very, very difficult where we're located, the weather here. We don't have a lot of access to these aquifers or water underground. If we wanted to dig wells, that's not really an option. So I think conservation via rates is the best possible option for us. So I know right now we do have rates that do scale up, but until you adjust those rates in a proper way, we're going to have conservation issues. And with all these businesses that are coming in, you don't want that to be an issue. We want Abilene to say, look, we have water for the next 100 years secured. We're confident in it. And with our new development coming, you kind of want to buffer that in and be prepared for, well, what if there are crisis events, extra development? We want to be prepared for those things. We don't want to be caught off guard and, we were using all this water, we weren't conserving, we're being irresponsible. I know nobody likes, paying more money, but it's supply and demand. That's what it really boils down to. And we're in a place that doesn't have a lot of water, and we have to operate economically responsibly.
Wow. One of the things I recognize moving to West Texas is the fact that if you're driving through Abilene and what used to be rivers.
Yeah.
What used to be rivers.
Yeah.
And there was a time when I first got here, I would see people fishing in certain places. I was like, wow, people could just fish. Now they can't fish there anymore.
Yeah.
So dealing with that, piggybacking on that conversation of conservative and conserving water and balancing water, understanding the predicament that we're in as West Texans.
Yes.
And I still say that Abilene, we out in West Texas is almost a desert-like. So conserving, saving water, and not only that, but also saving the pockets of Abilenian people.
Yes.
And you brought up a very interesting point, the importance of emergency situations.
Yeah.
I remember years ago when I first got here, because I've never heard this because I'm from Florida.
Yeah.
So we never had a water conservation.
I bet, yeah.
You couldn't water your lawn after a certain time, and I didn't know how important that was because I was a college student at the time. I'm like, oh, we will always have water. I'm from Florida. Water's everywhere. But that's not the case. Not always the case. And so being responsible. So I love your plan with that. Let's talk a little about lastly about leadership and accountability. We know that you're running for a seat on the city council, and right now the American people are very weary, and trust is very hard to come by.
Mm-hmm.
How will you ensure transparency and accountability in city council decisions? What does that look like?
Yeah, so I think when you're on council and there's an issue that is coming up, I do believe you have a responsibility. So even if everybody has kind of spoken and, say everybody is in favor of a particular issue, it's important for you to voice also, hey, this is why I am saying yes, or why you're saying no.
Right.
Providing adequate reasoning behind your decision and saying, look,
like
I don't see the return on investment here, or we know there's something down, the road here that could potentially be a hiccup there. We maybe need to slow down. Maybe not. It's not a no, but it's a wait situation. It's just making sure you're communicating and also making yourself available. I think it's so important for you to serve on boards in this community,
right.
volunteer in this community, finding opportunities to be in front of other people so that they don't just see you up there. They see you in the community, working.
With the average person.
With the average person.
With the average person,
yes.
Yeah, because I think when you talk about access, and things changes once you get into the office because you're doing a job, right?
Yes.
But it makes people feel a little bit better, and makes people feel a little bit safe to know that when we had a community cleanup day, I saw this person over there. I didn't know who that person was, but that person was due A, B, and C, and being in that. Talk to me a little bit on how do you plan to work with other city leaders to build a consensus on important issues?
Yeah, so I want to know what you think.
Right.
I'm going to have my opinions. I don't think that I'm right. I'm more than willing to admit that I'm wrong, and I want to know what the community thinks, and that includes me being involved in the community, talking to people about these issues.
Right.
And one thing that I have noticed is that when these bigger issues do pop up, people do come to the city council meetings. They voice their opinion, they voice their concerns, but I think we need to do a better job of making sure that they're kind of more informed on the front end, and that these things are coming down, and that's just on you as a council person to make sure you're staying engaged, and that they know what's happening, what's going on, and they understand your reasoning for making the decision for whatever the issue is.
Gotcha. Well, we had our time, man. Thank you for coming on the couch, man.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hanging out with Miguel Espinoza, who's running for place 5 in Abilene City Council. I'd love to have you back.
Thank you.
We need to pick up a part 2, bro.
Yes.
This is really good. This is really good. Hopefully, once we get a part 2, we can really dig into some of the weightier matters within the city and kind of see your approach with that.
Yeah.
But I love what you said today, and I look forward to continue this conversation.
Thank you, sir.
So thank you. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.